Today is a very special day. Today is the day that I possibly find the ultimate sports tourer, you might say. Because today is the day that I ride the Suzuki GSX-S 1000 GT. Oh yeah! Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf. I hope you're all well. So, I've gone and taken out this sports tourer from Suzuki. And in truth, I wasn't even thinking about it until a couple of weeks ago. And I was looking at more performance-based touring that would also be a comfortable ride for myself and my other half on the back. Now, this GSX-S 1000 GT was the best-selling sports tourer, I believe, of 2022. It's the same engine, the 4-cylinder, 4-stroke inline-4 engine, same engine as is in the Katana and the GSX-S 1000 as well, the naked version. I believe this is the same engine that was in the GSX-R 1000 K5. I could be wrong there, but it's off a previous generation GSX-R 1000 for sure. It comes in two variants. You've got the GT, which I'm riding now, which is kind of as the bike is, but it also comes with the GT Plus, which has basically got side boxes on it. Side boxes, you can pretty much put a full-size helmet in there, depends on the size of helmet, of course, and they literally just clip on here. So unfortunately, what Suzuki don't do for this bike is a top box, and that's for me with my partner on the back. I kind of want a top box so she can feel a little bit more secure. However, there is an aftermarket bracket which you can put on here and also fits a top box, no problem. Okay, let me just talk about this bike first of all. I like performance bikes and I like bikes that ride properly, and when I say ride properly, suspension is great. You put it into a bend, it stays there. It's really light, it's really nimble, but it's got oodles of power. Sometimes that can feel a little bit uncontrollable. Sometimes it feels really planted. This bike doesn't feel as planted, let's say, like a real heavyweight hyper sports bike. Let's just say like the Kawasaki SXSE or something like that, which I've ridden. But what it is it's just perfect for the road. I can definitely see why they've sold so many of these in the UK, because it's right on point with the power. It just pulls and pulls. It's so easy to ride in any gear. It feels as if it's the right gear, and at any speed in any gear it feels as if it's in the right gear as well. So it's so easy to ride, and you're riding along and you think, well, do I need to change gear or not? But what is so great about this bike is it's so light. It's so light to flip from left to right. It just rolls into the bends. The braking is on point. The suspension is on point. On a big open road, it's as smooth as you like. On these back roads here, which is really bumpy, especially this stretch here, you can feel the bumps. But I tell you what, some other bikes which I've taken down here, it's a lot smoother on this bike than on other bikes, that's for sure. What I like about this bike is that it kind of looks a bit angular. You know, there's lots of lines in it, lots of angles on it. It looks as if it's meant to be ridden. Take the boxes off it, and this is essentially what you've got now, and it looks like a bit of a street bike. The handlebars are the perfect position here. They're like drag bars really, but not really, just straight bars. They are perfect street riding bars, but at the same time they're so comfortable as well, just for cruising around. Is this a bike that I can see myself on? Okay, so if you'd asked me about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I'd be like, nah, not really. But now I've been thinking about this a little bit more and weighing up everything on this bike, I'm kind of thinking, oh, you know, let me just say this. This bike is fantastic to ride. It really is. It does feel a little bit uncomfortable in the seat, but you can overcome that. I'm sure there are comfort seating options for these bikes. The question is, would it be comfortable for me and also for my other half on the back, you know, all loaded up with luggage and top box and everything. And by all accounts, these bikes are great on the tour. You know, people are buying them exactly for that, but they want a bit of performance riding. The riding position, you're upright, especially with those bars. The foot peg position, it's not too rear set, it feels quite right. You're in a neutral riding position. You grip the tank with your knees just a little bit and all the stresses are off it. But as soon as you want to open the throttle, this thing flies. When I've been looking at bikes recently, you know, to buy, to consider buying, or to judge whether it would be suitable for me, I've also been really looking at the overall package, right? The overall value for money. Is it the right bike? But is it great value for money? And also, could I afford it, right? You know, I've test ridden a few bikes, but when it comes down to it, I cannot afford a brand new one, but I could afford a bike maybe 2 or 3 years old, right? Let's just talk about this bike. The Suzuki GSX-S 1000 GT Plus. That's with the boxes, right? The side boxes. Not with the top box, which you'd have to pay extra, and that would be about another £500–600, let's say. It depends on the top box you get and which manufacturer you're coming from. But essentially, this bike, GT Plus with the boxes, is about £13,700 and something right now. And they're also willing to do a deal. That's a brand new bike, 1000cc, and a sports tourer that does everything that you want for just under £14,000. They've also got this great service package from Suzuki as well right now, and Suzuki have also got great finance packages. In fact, I think they're one of the best around right now. So go check that out if you're interested in financing a bike from Suzuki. But also this comes with 3 years warranty as well. So great service packages and service intervals, great warranty, great finance option, and it's pretty great value for money as well. And it looks nifty as well, no doubt. Okay, is this the touring bike for comfort? For me, no, it isn't. I don't think it is. And I would have to look more about the seating options for this, or whether I get a gel pad or something like that for long distance riding. But I've got to say, the way this rides, the way it rides in the bends, the way it soaks up the bumps, brilliant. The quick shifter on it is so lovely and light. You just gently blip it up and it just creeps into the next gear, and you do the same coming down and it just rests into the lower gear. It's lovely. But when you want to be aggressive, you blip it up and the bike kind of jolts forward as if it says, yeah, come on, let's go, let's go. You can, as I say, you can ride this really gently, really easily, or you can ping the throttle and away you go, and you can have loads of fun. I was speaking to a couple of the lads at the dealership, and they were saying they'd taken these bikes on the track and how well they performed, and you know, and they'd gone up against track bikes and they were holding their own, no problem. But then again, I would say this about a lot of brand new motorcycles these days, certainly for the last 3 or 4 years, that you buy them out the showroom, out the dealership, and they're pretty much good for the track as well. They'll hold their own on a track. A road bike this is, with minimal fuss. Take it on the track, you'll have a great time on it. And this is pretty much one of those bikes. Whilst it's not a sports bike, it's got like sports bike pedigree in a kind of sports touring shell, as it were. If you're looking for a touring bike with a bit of pep, with a bit of bite on it, and you want that performance, this kind of bike is the one to go for. The sports touring bike. You don't want a laid back sofa of a bike, you want a sports touring bike. If you want something more comfort, definitely more sit in the saddle for hours and hours and hours, then you probably want to go for something else. But this bike is just brilliant to ride. Cannot rate it enough. Brilliant to ride. And the way I test ride bikes is always I like to try a mix of roads. Definitely ride it on the roads that I'm going to be riding most, or the type of roads that I'm going to be riding most, that is. But this just soaks it all up. What I will say is, when I took it onto the open road and I used the cruise control on it, It was great, but it just seemed to be a little bit clunky, not as refined. You pop it into cruise control and it stays there, no problem, but when you want to blip it up and blip it down to adjust the speed, it seems as if it doesn't react quick enough. That's just an observation really. It just didn't seem to be as smooth as other cruise controls on other bikes that I've ridden. I think if I was just an inch or two shorter, I know this is going to sound weird, if I was just an inch or two shorter, I wouldn't feel as if I'm over the bike on my wrists so much. Whilst I am in a neutral position, it does feel as if I'm over the bike a little bit, just a little bit. But that is counteracted by the great foot peg position and bar position and those handlebars that just make it easy to ride. But I do question the comfort on the long distance. That's one thing I do question on this bike. Could I see myself on this bike? Definitely. Would it be a real departure for what I'm riding now, the Harley Davidson? Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm kind of kidding myself if I think I'm going to have a similar kind of riding experience. No, this is totally different. And now I'm not looking at a similar bike or similar riding experience. It's kind of fit for purpose type riding. Does it do what I want it to do? Can I get a bit of performance out of it? Can I get the sports touring or certainly the touring aspect to it? Is it going to be comfortable for myself? Primarily, but also with my missus as well on the back. And is it going to be good for the commute, the long distance ride, the short distance ride, urban riding, rural riding, and also going on the Grand Tour as well? Is it going to be that bike? It's so close, this bike, if I wanted to go the more performance touring, the sports touring, because that's essentially what it is, right? And it's perfect for that, and that's exactly why they're selling so many of these, because it's perfect for that. Of the sports tourers which I've ridden in my history, let's say, this comes out at being right at the top, at the very top. There are a few others which I've ridden which I think, wow, these are amazing machines and they're so planted on the road, but they are a bit heavier bikes. They are definitely heavier bikes, and whilst they feel light when you're riding, they are still heavier bikes, whereas this is so light. If I just pulled over and wanted just to back it up so I could turn around again, this is so light to maneuver around the garage, in a car park, that kind of thing. Really light, just to paddle yourself around. Absolutely brilliant. So is this a bike for me? If I was looking for the more sports touring type bike, definitely. If I'm looking for the kind of comfort touring, no, it isn't. Is this a bike I could definitely see myself on? No doubt whatsoever. I've always liked Suzukis. I've had quite a few in the past. I think they're great bikes. Out of those performance sports tourer bikes which I've ridden, this is probably the best riding one as an overall package, right? If I'm looking at overall value, whether it's sports tourer, whether it's tourer, this is the one. This is the one. Suzuki just seem to have it nailed down with value right now and overall package. The price of these things, the warranties, the service package, and the kind of bikes that they just really are great. It just may not be the style that you're looking for. As I say, I'm under no illusions. This is not the same kind of riding experience I'm getting now. It's probably the riding experience that I used to have many years ago. Would I want to go back to that? I don't know. It's so tempting. So tempting. Anyway, with that, I'm gonna get back on the road here and have a bit more hooligan fun. But all I can say, this GSX-S 1000 GT or the GT Plus, if you're looking for the more sports tourer, the performance tourer, these are the bikes that you go for. Take off the boxes, and they're just great street bikes, great track bikes, great road bikes, great bikes for having fun on, but also really comfortable, really easy to ride, and great for solo or two-up riding. That's all I can say. Right, catch you again on another video coming very soon. Ta-da.